The man leave penal with a dollar and dental. She passed through Central on the way to the
When Steel
capital.
talks, everybody listens.
This is When Steel Talks, and we're very pleased to have on the phone with us today a world-renowned musician, arranger, composer, and educator, Mr. Ray Holman, arranging for Skiffle Steel Orchestra for the Panorama 2013 season in Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to When Steel Talks, Ray.
Thank you, Supreme. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
This is good. Well, let's get straight into it because it is the height of the season. Semifinals soon to come, and a lot of people would love to hear some of your thoughts and, how you have been on the music scene. You are, in fact, the only arranger taking part in this year's Panorama for 2013, who competed in the inaugural competition back in 1963. So, what are some of the most interesting changes you've observed over the last 5 decades in the Panorama arena?
Well, to start, there were less bands participating, and the bands had fewer players than they are now. So those are two things. Also, the music was simpler because none of us really knew, except I think Anthony Williams, who was arranging for Panama Stars. I was a teenager at the time, so I certainly didn't have much of a clue as to what to do with the calypso. But as the things have evolved, I think maybe 1966 was a kind of watershed year, and when the Panorama form changed, I sort of give it the present form. When I arranged Mass and South, I think that sort of set the tone for what the form would be. And also Beverly Griffith, who was arranging for Despers, I think we had a kind of similar idea of what the form should be. So it has evolved to what it is today, and the interest certainly after the first couple of years certainly grew, and the size of the bands, as I said, grew dramatically. For example, solo harmonites, by 1969 they were probably at about 130 players.
Wow.
And a couple of years after, the early 70s, I think they got to 150. That was a very, they was huge. The rest of us were like 90. I think I was arranging for start, we were about 90, 95. So the size of the band started to increase. I think one exception was Despers one year in 1970. I think they played with about 67 players. And they won,
Sizes doesn't always matter.
Because I've been saying for years, you really don't need all those players to make a good sound. And then in more recent times, like within the last maybe, 7-8 years, maybe, the length of the tunes. Well, the tunes were much shorter when it started. They were like about 6 minutes, maybe. And then it started to get long, it went to 10 minutes. Some people were going over 11 minutes and all that. And then within the last 7 years, well, they passed it, it should be 8 minutes. So it's kind of coming back the other way now. At the outset, where there were no canopies. First Panorama, we didn't have canopies. So I saw that came in. Also, when we started, we didn't have any chrome pans. So it's a whole lot of the canopies, I think, were very important to keep the sound of the pans, and the chrome instruments came in, and the band started to get bigger. The basses, I think, when we started was like maybe 5 bass. Then they went to 6, 7, 8, 9, and we didn't have any four cello or anything like that. So it was a whole. I've seen it completely change.
So you mentioned that the bands were not as large as they are generally today. In 1963, could you remember the average size of the band in that first Panorama competition?
I think it would have been just over 50, let's say in the 60s,
Okay.
Then the bands were more community-oriented at the time.
Right.
We had everybody in the community playing there, but now that's another thing that has changed. A lot of bands, people coming from, you have all this band hopping and so,
Okay, so we can talk a little bit more about that coming up. What changes would you opt for in the overall Panorama competition if you personally had the mechanism to input those changes? And the floor is wide open here.
Okay, well, a couple of the changes. Well, one of the changes that I had advocated, and when Patrick Arnold was the helm, I suggested to him to cut the length of the piece from 10 minutes to 8. It was just getting ridiculous and, going on and on and on and on, and wasn't really very interesting. So they took my advice to that. I would suggest, as I've been suggesting to them all the time, the length of the shows. The shows are too long, way too long. You can't sell a show that length. So I would cut the shows. I would cut the number of bands in the final. You come to a show, people want to see the best on display.
Mm-hmm.
What we have now, we have a lot of padding. On prime time, you're not hearing the best bands. So what I would do, if they really want to have all those bands in the final, I would have the large bands first and the medium bands after. So the people, the audience, the paying audience, are hearing the best bands. Sometimes the best bands are playing and there's hardly anybody there. When they hand in out the trophy, which should be a glorious moment,
Right.
there are very few people around. Most of the crowd has gone home. So to me, that really is not an idea of a good show. I would advocate less bands on the final night. The preliminaries too, well, they took my advice. I advised them to just have the medium and large. What they were trying to do was an impossibility, and the show was going way into the morning, and some of the bands playing and there's nobody there. I think that's unfair.
Yeah.
You have rehearsed for all that time. It takes a lot to put a panorama band on stage. And when you're performing, the top band's playing and nobody's in the audience.
That's very demoralizing.
I don't think that's a good. The other change I would make, I would take the panorama neck out of it. I can't really see at this point, in the development of the instrument. We're putting all that emphasis on the single pan band. We have evolved. You could have us at another time. And what that's doing is drawing its weakness in a lot of the bands, because if you could get a couple of people, now these bands are mushrooming all over the place. And sometimes the same players playing in 3-4 bands. So I personally don't see, looking at the development of the steel band movement and of the instrument, I don't think that's doing anything for it.
Okay.
But as I said, that's my personal opinion. Most people might disagree, and that's fine.
You have an excellent viewpoint, having still been active over the past 50 years, literally, not just having participated in the first, but your growth as a musician, as someone who has traveled around the world and observed other competitions and how they're put together. Surely your input would be of some credibility and some things to take into account. As you said already, a couple points have been implemented thus far. So personal or not, your opinion is must be well appreciated by at least some people.
Well, I hope so.
Okay. You touched on this a bit in terms of the categorization of the bands, which we now have small, medium, and large. So you would the focus.
I would just have large and small. I would lump the medium and large into one group. And I have also been advocating that they cut the maximum. So you're sort of even the playing field. To me, the public would be happier to see a cleaner competition. I don't think it should be lopsided. You want to have, the game should be to develop all the bands and have all the bands come to a standard, and not have like a hegemony with a few bands dominating all the you. People could actually say that they know 5 bands that should be in the final. There will be a had a few exceptions in the last 3 years. I'm advocating cutting the size of the bands, and then you have one competition. To me, I have the small bands at another time. But because in Panorama, when it was one competition, you still had all these little bands participating, from all over the country.
Indeed.
They used to come. They know they're not going to make, but they come in, and that was part of the entertainment. But what I think is happening now, if you look at the prize structure, I just saw it in the papers this morning. The large bands, like the first prize for the medium band, is around the same price as the price for the large band. I don't find that makes sense. they should do something to try to encourage people to come into the large category. Reduce the maximum. So then you have a cleaner, because a lot of bands are under terrific pressure for players. Huh? A lot of the large and medium bands under pressure for players. The band only next week can only players.
Yeah. Do you remember a few years ago, Leon Smooth Edwards from Trinidad All Stars wrote a piece called Large is Large, and that was one of his concerns, the fact that the large steel orchestras were struggling because of the proliferation of bands in smaller categories and the players essentially playing with multiple bands for the competition. Yeah.
And you want to have a good show. You want to have a show with the cream of the crop. When Panorama started, it was on Carnival Sunday night. It was the same night Dimash Gra was Calypso. I used to call it Calypso King, as it was known then, on Panorama. And the show was fine. Everybody was out there before 12 o'clock. And you had the Calypsonians, you had the 7 finalists. And it was exciting. And I'm also suggesting something like that, that from what was happening then, the bands after the competition, they went out for Juve. It was an exciting time. It was more exciting than it is now. Because now we have the Saturday, the Sundays are bummer. It just doesn't, to me, that has robbed it of some of the excitement. I like it on the Sunday night. Competition is over. Everybody's there when they announce the winners. And the bands are get ready for Juve. So everything fit hand in glove. And you start the show early, you start the Calypso early, you have the pan. Or if even they can't do the Calypso, but you start the show on time, less bands on that night, and the crowd will enjoy a nice show.
Yeah.
You can package it if you want to sell it abroad, but what in its present form, to me, is a bit of a bore. I know a lot of people who have come there. And if you look at the final, the crowd is getting smaller and smaller. Because people can't sit through that daytime. They go and they sit through the, like a party time. People not even listening to the pan and the preliminary time, right? But when they come in at night, people are not going to sit through 20 bands. It's way too long.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the adjudication process, inclusive of the actual selection of the judges and, the criteria under consideration for the competition? Things along those lines. A few words on your thoughts about that.
Well, that has always been a problem, and I've always said judges should be able to prove why they should be judges. You should submit a CV of what you have done, and let the governing body and the arrangers and all the leaders get together and choose proper judges. I know there's a problem. Angelico says it's difficult to get people. Some people don't want to come to judge for themselves. I think they still have a good quality person who can be a decent judge. And it doesn't only have to be from Trinidad. You have people from abroad who study the pan. And I think they will make good judges as well. But we definitely have to improve in that space. So there are better judges, better adjudication. They should be trained. They have seminars, training them on what to look for. Some people don't have a clue.
All right. If one would think of considering that the Trinidad and Tobago Panorama as it is operating now is broken, who is responsible for the state of the Panorama as it exists now?
Well, I think it's all of us, huh?
Okay.
Because you have the governing body, Trinidad, but you also have a membership. And the membership, not everybody has the same goals. Not everybody is thinking of it as something, a national exercise to bring out the best music that we have. I don't think everybody's on that page. So for a lot of people it's a hustle. And that's where you have the conflict. So you find tantrum, they may want to do things, but their hands are tied because, it becomes political.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have people lobbying for their own interests. I believe that, I've always felt that the officials of San Diego should not be attached to any band. I think we should have people who are just looking out for the good of the movement.
So the business enterprise part of it.
Yeah. I think we really need that.
Okay.
We don't need like partisans people are looking out for my band, and too much of that has happened over the years. And I think for us to grow now and to take it to the next level, as people say, to have better, more professionalism, to have it better managed and run. You can still have so many people there, but they should not be they should be looking out. People should not be looking out for themselves. They should be looking out for the betterment of the entire movement.
Okay, on the topic of it being international, there has been a recent media conference where it is said that the Panorama is going to be opened up on an international basis starting from 2014. What are your thoughts on that possibility?
Well, you know, I can't. I just try to be. I can't say that I've got it out. I know that if we look at the Calypso monarch is national, but the soca monarch
It's international.
International. Some people don't agree. But I'm looking at the steel band. It might generate some more interest. Like if you had foreign bands that were taking part, I think it might generate more interest, whether it's practical or not, because what their shipping bill is going to be extremely high.
Yeah.
Because you certainly wouldn't be able to fly a Panorama size band in from Europe or the United States. It would be very, very costly. So that would not be an economically strong venture. But then that's what these foreign bands are really about. I think it would be interesting. As to whether it's wrong or right, I can't pass a judgment. All I can say, it would be interesting to have people from abroad come and take part in the festival. You know?
Okay. All right. Let's get a bit more involved with Ray and Ray's music here. This year we have Sapna the Dream. It's an interesting music work. And the rhythm, of course, it's guaranteed to have people dancing, as I'm sure you would have already witnessed in rehearsal sessions with Skiffle. And did you have Skiffle, specifically the youthful face of the band, in mind when you composed Sapna the Dream?
No. When I wrote the song, I did not write the lyric came first. Joe Shaggy had lyrics, and he wanted me to put music to the lyrics. So when I wrote the melody for the song, I wasn't thinking about Panorama or any band. Actually, I was retired from Panorama at the time, so I just wrote this piece, and I liked it, you know. And when Junior Rogel, the leader of Skiffle, invited me to bring to the band, you know, I said, yeah, this would be a nice thing to do, because in addition, it's my 50 years since the first one, so I think I'm the only arranger who will be offering music in the Panorama this year, who had offered music in 1963. So I said I wanted to do something different. I said, you know, I don't want to go down at the same. We've been doing it for 50 years, you know, and to me the Panorama has gotten, you know, like boring, you know, to be quite frank, you know. It's a lot of repetition, and it's. So I said, let me try and do something a little different and have some fun. You know? I'm having fun with it. So to your question, no, I did not write it specifically for Pan. But when I met those players down there, they had a lot of young kids, and they play well. They well disciplined, and it's just a nice environment. So it sort of inspired me, you know. I really feel good about the piece.
It's a great fit. All right. It's interesting. Even though Joe Shagir wrote the lyrics, the overall message, you know, one could think that it fits in with your other two compositions for Panorama. If we really want from 2006 and 2007, we just can't go on like this. You know, it's essentially, it's woven into the social fabric of Trinidad and Tobago, a commentary on the society per se. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, it just seems as if, you know, I seem to have gotten into that theme, but it started way back in 1998 when I wrote O Trinidad. So I'm an artist, and artists, I think, have an obligation to comment on his society. And so I'm just writing what I saw. Joe, when he came in this song, and what it says about cultural unity and, you know, and love, I really, that's how I feel he's I really, when I saw the lyric, I smiled. The man who's Pinagada Dula Candantal. It just made me smile, and I performed it in the US. I did a concert in Denver, and I sang one of the voices on the chorus, and people loved it. And they say, "That's your Panorama tune." I say, "No, I'm not arranging for Panorama." And then, so when we settled up at Skiffle, I said, "Well, wait, let me do this. I'll do something different." And I really want to make people to feel better about themselves, and this piece, I think, is going to be a treat, and I hope you come and hear it, Cyprian. Here in Trinidad, and you do it.
I would love to. Okay. Through the years, and as a musician yourself, is there any arranger that you hold in high esteem?
Yeah, well, we have some fine, like the deceased Clive Bradley and Len Sharp, I think those are the two. They are fine musicians.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
All right. Okay. You're the first musician to compose your own music for Panorama, correct? In 1972 with Pan on the Move?
Yes.
Okay, back then, what led to your taking what could be considered a very daring step?
Well, I was always thinking about this instrument. And actually, when I was in my teens, I wanted to be like a classical pianist. I was seeing the pan with the symphony, But I was always thinking about, where's this is heading. When you went to the Calypso tent, you didn't hear the same tune twice, no matter what tent you went to. But when you went to the pan yard, you were just hearing everybody playing the same songs. So we were not distinct, the arrangements were distinctive. But we didn't have any distinctive piece of music, any composition. So we were just taking what the Calypsonians are, which is fine at the time. But I think that I thought like we have to come of age. And just like when you go to the Calypso Review, you're going to hear what Kitchener has, you go Sparrow Hideaway, you're going to hear what Sparrow, you're going to hear Shadow. So you're going to hear a different piece wherever you go. And this is what I thought Steelpan would be nice. To be distinct, everybody have their own thing. I'm not saying not to play the Calypsos, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they have this fantastic show. And everybody's not a composer, I know this. But at least some people might have the talent. And if they're encouraged, they will improve. And then they have a forum to present this music. And this is from the pan, So people were kind of a little surprised when I made that move. But I'm thinking about the pan.
Yeah.
To me, if you're in the steel band, that's the main thing. If you go to a Calypso, you go to a soca, their thing is the main thing. So why would the pan?
Yeah.
Why must we be second? Pan, people who play the instruments, and the people who work with it, are first in that setting. The Calypso tent, the people in the Calypso tent, the Calypsonians are first. So I thought the pan should be distinctive and we should have our own music. We play other people's music too.
Yeah.
But we have to focus on our own, promote it.
All right. Now, your Panorama championship years were 1969 with the Bull and 1971 with Queen of the Bands.
It's a long, long time ago.
Yeah. No, this might be a rhetorical question, but what do you think winning the 2013 Panorama championship together with Skiffle would feel like deep inside if it did occur?
But I mean, that'd be a lovely feeling, But I'd be just as happy if the band plays beautifully, and just people a treat, And that's why I play music. I aim to produce good music and music that's the last and stand the test of time and give people enjoyment. So if the judges feel like that too, okay. But if they don't, I'm still continuing.
Okay. Do you have a particular approach? When you're arranging for a band, for instance, the semifinals are, just a couple of weeks away, essentially, and it's a fairly short season. In a synopsis, how do you go about, or if you have already completed the arrangement by chance, how have you gone about the entire process for the band?
Well, no, we haven't completed it, but I had to start a little early because, as I said before, the work of the band ages 10 to 22. That means a lot of people they're at school, and I have to be, if I was a teacher once, I have to be responsible and know that their schoolwork comes first.
Indeed, indeed.
The answer to your question is yes, we are well advanced, but no, we haven't finished.
And personally, though, have you more or less an idea of the completed arrangement that you will be presenting, even though the band has not gotten...
The idea of the arrangement, yes. And you know what enabled me to do this, because South is a little stretch traveling, I know the traffic is.
Yeah.
So the band has a lot of young people who can read music.
Excellent.
So that kind of saved it for me. I couldn't have done it otherwise. So
Okay.
I'm writing music, and I send it down, and a couple of people there have done a wonderful job in reading it and teaching it to the band. So that has saved a lot of time and a lot of hassle for me and a lot of stress.
Understood.
And I really like it that way. So this year, two things are different in that the lyric came before the music, and also this time I'm not teaching it by rote. If I have to do that, I have no alternative.
Okay. All right. Now, ultimately, Ray, your story in this year's Panorama for 2013 is, as we said before, being the only arranger. You have that distinction of having participated in the original Panorama back in '63, and of course 2013 you're here. Talk about any aspects that we have not discussed but you have in your mind that you would like to share.
Well, I would like to have some young people, if they're going to study with me, to pass on my knowledge and my experience, and also if they like my style, to try and perpetuate it, because, all I said was here for time, to produce music, as I said, that will last, But I find a lot of the problem to me in steel band, which didn't exist many years ago, that the music has become so forgettable. After Carnival Saturday, the music is, it's really dead. It's very, except those die-hard steel band fans, the public at large doesn't really want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that to me is the sad
part about the
we have a lot of work to do to get people to really love the music. Some people say, some people go to the show, they're not really listening to the band and the preliminary. It's a party, all right, have your party. But we have to produce music that they want to hear after. And the vast majority is forgotten. Even the melodies, the recordings, everything is just too forgettable. So if we want the public to be more interested, we have to produce better music. I mean, we have a responsibility too. We can't just say that people don't like Khan. A lot of young people I ask about it, they don't like to hear the songs like noise to the young people, to most of the young people. It doesn't have to sound like that. This is where the judges come in again. But the people who judge Panorama have pointed in a way where it's so noisy. So people can't really, who's going to relate to that? I mean, it just sounds like you're making a bunch of noise, and you're not going to call and say people don't like steel band. It's only they don't like it. They don't like it because of the way it sounds. That's what I have to tell you the truth, I just have to say the truth. With few exceptions, of course there are few exceptions. But the bulk of it, if you close your eyes and say the problem doesn't exist, but you first have to admit there's a problem. And there is a problem. And if it's not addressed, well, it's going on.
Yeah. It's interesting about, you touched on young people. Within the last few years, and maybe even on the New York pan scene, there has been a gravitation somewhat toward the more popular or the more danceable soca's as opposed to the calypso. For instance, like Action and, Trinity to the Bone, and this year we have Bubble being played by a couple of the bands, and last year All Over with Fayan and Baron. What are your thoughts on the incorporation of what the young people are actually partying to, but bringing them into...
I could see why some people are trying to do that. So all that's fine if the melody, the steel band is instrumental, so there's nobody singing. So you need to have a good melody, and you need to have a decent structure, a decent harmonic structure. So, whereas it's fine to play a popular song and one that's danceable, but it must have melody, because remember, you have to develop this piece.
Yeah.
So you play 7 minutes, or between 7 and 8 minutes. So you must have some serious content in it.
Understood.
Now, the problem that the arrangers have is that Kitchener is dead,
Yeah.
Lucius is dead, Winfred Devine, who's known Joker, he doesn't do much.
Composing.
So, you know, that's a big blow right there. When you lose composers of that caliber, there is a problem. So the quality of the music in bands have to draw from, there is a big problem with it. One year you might get a couple good ones, and the next year, you know, it's very short on quality.
Okay, you are world traveled as a performer, of course world renowned as an educator, composer. Now, taking that into consideration and your Panorama experiences over the years, is there anything good or otherwise about Pan that you, as a younger Ray, 50 years ago would have said wow about if you had been able to see 50 years into the future?
Well, a couple good things is that a lot of young people now who are playing the pan can read music. Now, I'm not saying that is a must. I'm saying that it helps. The ear is the ultimate judge, right? The ear is the ultimate judge of a musician. You must have a good ear. But they have learned to read, so that will facilitate the learning and the preservation of our music, because a lot of good music has been played in the pan and has been lost because it wasn't written down. So that is one good thing I've seen about it. The instruments themselves, in some cases, like have improved. In some cases, I'd say, not in all, but there's a better, generally the instruments are better. The arrangements have become more sophisticated to the point sometimes where I would say too elaborate, in that people can't really understand what has another, people can't understand what the band's playing. You go to hear a piece of music, you can't tell what it is, and a lot of it really unnecessary. But generally, I have to say that some arrangers have developed their craft and their skills way above what we had at the outset when I started. So that's a good thing. The audiences who have been hearing steel bands all over the world, and hopefully they're hearing good ones. So that's a plus. And, you know, we're spreading the gospel of the instrument, and it has become more internationally recognizable. And I think when Liberace and Tripoli made that tour, that did a lot for the pan, and Panama Stars.
Yeah.
You know, when the Panorama, that was a great band, they did a lot too.
Yeah.
And then we have the pan taking its place. It's place in the classical area with symphony like Leonti. You know, I happened to play with a symphony once in California. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Wow.
It was, I always dreamed of doing when I was in my teens, in my latter years. You know.
You were able to realize that dream. Excellent.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that. What else? I hope I'm not forgetting anything now. Well, a lot of pan composers. I have to mention that. I mean, it's happening to me when you look and you see so many people writing for the pan. Whereas in 1972 I was the only one. So there has been a proliferation of composition.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the radio format in Trinidad does not allow the public to know the tune very well when they are presented around, because they don't get the airplay. So we still kind of, you know, we're still in the doghouse as far as the radio is concerned. A lot of stations play these songs, but when they play them 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and everybody either in a party or asleep. So they will say that they play these songs, yes, but how often and at what time?
Yeah.
Come at prime time. You're not hearing those songs in prime time.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
So either we have to make the songs better, or we got to get stations, get people more socially conscious. So like if you're having a big show coming up, and people going to go there and they wouldn't know the songs. So that to me is a...
Yeah.
When I did Pan on the Move, in 1972, that song was played on the radio every day, instrumental. Dallas, we recorded, we had the radio station, it was Radio Trinidad. Bob Gittin used to play a song every day, sometimes 3-4 times a day. Compare that to now.
Yeah.
So we have more competition now, but we don't have the access.
Okay, understood.
The Pan Any Move in 1972 was known way more than whichever going to be the most played pan tune here in 2002.
All right.
That's something that I think we have to rectify.
Okay. Any additional thoughts before we wrap up?
I want to congratulate when Steel Talks for the wonderful job you have been doing in promoting instruments. You know, look, people go on your website. You are the first with certain types of information. I hear some things when Steel Talks before I hear it in Trinidad. So all kudos to you and to your team. And I would urge you to keep up what you're doing, and even if you could extend it more, it would be certainly better. And we really need something like this so steel band lovers all over the globe can know what's going on. And I'll certainly keep you abreast of what I'm doing.
Excellent. That sounds great. Well, Ray, you know, it's been really, really great having this opportunity to have an extended discussion with you and, you know, getting your feedback and your thoughts on Panorama overall for the past 50 years. And simply to say, it is great to have you here 50 years later. And with Skiffle Steel Orchestra, you will indeed do some phenomenal work. All the best in the competition. And
I hope we see you for the carnival. You and your team.
Indeed. And thank you very much for chatting with When Steel Talks.